Welcome back. Here is number 7, episode number 7, calling it Discharge Drama. So now we're getting ready to be placed back into 7 South of the hospital, the non-isolated wing. COVID is over. My daughter's doing so much better and just trying to make the best of each day. We've got a quiz that we have to take as parents to make sure we know how to care for our daughter as or after she's discharged, because she's got no immune system, has a feeding tube, an NG tube going down to her stomach, and a whole bunch of medication. During this time, the biggest switch in the dynamics between me and their mom is there was an event. Her mom comes in, she's taking all the books, the toys. Many of the items don't even belong to her. They're, one, a gift to my daughter Aviana, and two, some of the items are given by me and my daughter's paternal grandparent, my father. But she's clearing out everything, trying to make it a lot easier and quicker for her to take Aviana and go. During this time, there seems to be a really big push to hurry up and get her out of the hospital, because that is one of the beautiful saving graces that allows me to constantly see my kiddo, even with my son being kind of moved around, and they play the hot potato game with him at that time. But the point of no return is when you decide to, whether you're cognitively there completely or not, you decide to put your hands on someone else. That's a big no-no. So as their mom comes in unexpected one day, finally with my son Josiah, he's coughing, he's clearly sick, and it's like, do you not even care about this kiddo? But I also understand where that's coming from, because it's a lot more beneficial to have my kiddo sick, because she's got all this attention and all of these other benefits from being sick. Nonetheless, her mom comes in, she's upset in Aviana, she's taking all of these items. She's like, why? Aviana's like, why are you taking this? Stop. So her mom's in, she's out. I grab some books. I say, hey, which one of these do you want to keep? Because we read every night. We read our Bible, our kids' Bible. I read my Bible, and we read some books together. So I grabbed some books that she wants to keep, and her mom has the nerve to come around, and I'm like, hey, back up. You need to back up. I've got my camera on. I don't care who doesn't like it. If you're in my space, you're going to get recorded, and it's for my protection. Not to mention, security has already known about her, and they're taking it very, I call it very passively when it comes to the threat level. So she comes, and I call it touching me, putting her hand on my person, because I have books in my hand, and I'm getting back like this. There's a bed here, there's a chair. I'm saying, you need to get back, get back. And she grabs the books out of my hand to make them fall onto the ground, because I'm not giving them to her. I'm like, just get back, mind your space, get back. And after that happens, she goes around to the other side of the bed. She's still not able to kind of control herself. I say that she's presenting as someone with dysregulated emotions and behavior, even though now I kind of think she's able to control it. She just chooses not to. It's harder to control it probably, but she chooses not to. Nonetheless, it's in front of the kids, and it's disgusting. It's sad, and it's just feel sorry for her. Like, it's pathetic. Like, you're gonna do that in front of your kids. You grew up seeing abuse. Why not try to do better? But instead, you're going deeper into it and being like the 2.0 of both of your parents. Nonetheless, she doesn't realize I'm recording at this point, acting a fool. And once she realizes the camera's on her and she's picking up books off of the ground and stuffing them wherever, oh, you're much bigger than me. She turns on this switch. Awful acting. Not going to get an award for that one. You're much bigger than me, and you're stronger than me. You did this, and I'm like, no, you're recorded. And even the kids would be like, no, he didn't. You're lying. There was another incident I talk about it later where she did something. I said she did something on camera, and then the kids go, after the mom says, I never did that. They go, yes, you did, in unison, which is hilarious. But nonetheless, we're in the hospital. We're trying to get out of the hospital as peacefully as possible. Her mom acts a fool, so I call security. Hey, I need a stand-in. Actually, I may have even had a nurse do it once before, if not during that time. I think it was a nurse this time. I was like, hey, this is what happened. She got physical. She put her hands on me. She's causing a scene in front of the kids, just not healthy for Aviana's growth, but her health. And they, oh, well, let's just come stand outside the room. It's like, no, buddy, I've been here for well over a week. You can stand inside the room like I'm telling you to and watch like you're supposed to do. Oh, we got cameras out here. I don't give two farts about your cameras. Like, get in the room where I'm with my daughter so nothing happens to my belongings, her, or anything else. Cameras don't mean anything, especially if you have to subpoena the footage and it's not clear and you have no idea of what angle they were at. And anyway, so once the security gets called on mom, meanwhile I'm calling, she beelines out of there, out of the room, and doesn't come back for several minutes. I'm assuming she loads the vehicle, comes back, pretends to be perfectly normal and fine, and I don't know why he called. And there's a God moment to where she steps outside the door, and I can hear it perfectly, clearly, through the door. There's a nurse that comes by and says, hey, do you know blah, 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 and this, that, and other? So yeah, my boyfriend, he knows you from the Bulgarian community, the blah, 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 and this and that, because their mom, turns out, decided to do a GoFundMe and raise $12,000, of which we know not what has been done with it. It was supposed to be for Aviana's care, but Aviana was on emergency Medicaid. Everything was paid for. There was no additional expense that needed $12,000. So where's the money? That's a motion I filed, notice to show cause for where did the money go? And once she did her mandatory disclosure, I'm looking through these documents and I'm looking through all of these financials. Where's the money? So there's an account that's hidden somewhere. There are expenses that are not accounting or adding up to $12,000 worth of medical expenses. So the benefit is God reveals who is for him and who is against him. And I purposely put it that way because it's not about us. Darkness is going to hate light. So during this season, God is allowing me to see the people who are for team him versus team them. And through the door, hey, yeah, my boyfriend knows you. I was like, okay, so there's another one that's on her side, is ignoring the truth, is ignoring the past several months of behavior and needing to call the social worker and security to help this person regulate themselves. Because if you know me, it is very, very difficult to get me to conflict with you in any way. I may disagree, but we're not going to fight. Even if you want to, you're just going to end up fighting with yourself. Nonetheless, so that was on, I believe that was on April 30th of 2023. Fast forward to May the 1st, we've got All About Pediatrics coming to drop off some equipment for my daughter's NG tube, the Joey pump as they call it. And before this even happens, like a week, if not more before, they gave me a call and said, hey, both of your parents are going to need to get a training. I'm saying, hey, here's the dynamic. It's very hostile. It's unhealthy in there. And I'm willing to bet their mom's going to try to take all the equipment so that she can force the hospital to give our daughter to her, even though we had a, even though we had a room set up for her, a bone marrow transplant specifically set up room for her at the Ronald McDonald House. And say, hey, it's very hostile, it's toxic, we're gonna need 2 different pumps to train on. That lady was like, okay, I completely understand, I'm putting it in the notes. The guy comes earlier in the day to train us. Older gentleman, when I say older, I'm thinking like maybe 40s. If you get the picture, he's got a hat on, lets you know where he's from. And he reiterates, okay, I'm coming to train you on this, this, this. And then another person will come later on with a separate pump to train mom. Excellent. And instead of doing that to the T like they should have done or were supposed to do, there was a surfer, hippie, dirty looking kid who comes and I can't even tell he works for that company and he's pretty lazy. I'm saying that because I've had more than one run-in with him being pretty lazy. So he comes and he goes, what's the passcode to get up? There's a passcode to get up because of all the hostile stuff that's going on. And I say, hey, I don't want anybody in the room except the parents, period. Mom doesn't need to bring back Uncle Mike to try to start a problem. Like, I knew exactly what this person was going to do. I know how this entity works, or this conglomerate, how it thinks. It's like, okay, I'm going to come back with somebody else, and then they're going to be my witness and start a problem. If you've dealt with people, not even from a mental health standpoint, people who constantly want to escalate and play the victim and be ghetto, and that's not really a thing, but I think you understand what I mean when I say that. All of the theatrics, when you understand the pattern, you can be well prepared for them. So this guy comes up to the room, and I'm still there. Like, I took half of the supplies, which was half of the shakes and whatnot, and half of the bags, because our kiddo's supposed to be half of the time with her, half of the time with me. So we're not playing this game of, oh, I don't have enough for you, or go get your own, which she does to this day. But the kid comes, he goes, well, I figured you would be here and we just use yours. It's like, that is not what was in your paperwork. I didn't want to go all the way back to the warehouse to get another one. Like, you fool. This is not about you. And the kid is just like, he's lazy. He's unkept and short-sighted, I will put it that way. And they create this big old mess of, oh no, he's keeping the equipment. I was like, no, I took half of the shakes, put them in my car, like a lot. She's got a supply for at least 1 month, I think it was. It was at least 1 month, or was supposed to. And whatever they sent, took half of it, so that in between, there's no exchanging of all the extra foolishness or all the extra equipment. The mom finally gets trained on the equipment, and she's got Uncle Mike there, and they create this big issue and try to get some security involved. And this guy is clearly, he's from New York. He's probably from the stop and frisk days. And I've had an encounter with him more than once before when I've called for assistance, and he's kind of downplaying everything. And you can tell he's got some type of pre-made up notion in his mind without even listening to anything. Because the guy who's with him, his partner, I'm assuming he's sergeant, he's got another little officer with him. The other officer is like, yeah, he's trying to talk sense into him. Like, I know exactly what he's talking about. Yeah, you should probably listen to him. He's called before. Hey, I've been through the same thing. It's, oh, well, the car, you don't even know how hot it is in there. You're going to cause it to spoil. And I'm thinking, you fool, you don't know what what I have in the vehicle. It's like, it's hot in there. It's like, what's the temperature? And I'm not saying that to him because I'm trying to de-escalate this ignorance that's coming at me. And he's, oh, you're interfering with care. I was like, how? I have the legal right to take care of my daughter. There's nothing in place. And they're trying to, well, this guy who's the lead for the moment is trying to enforce what he wants to do. And I say it that way on purpose. I'll tell you what happens. All of this back and forth, they call security. The mom side, that is, one of the nurses, she overreacts and doesn't understand, or maybe she doesn't care of what was going on. She's like, I'm going to get Aviana out of here, and then we're going to talk about this. Like, listen, this was the setup plan from the beginning. She gets half, I get half. The pump is the pump. Like, there's two coming. And instead of using logic and reason, or just being, how would I put it? Just using a good heart and understanding, you know what, this is some foolishness. We don't even need to be involved in this right now. You guys figure it out, or we'll figure it out. But anyway, security is like, one of you needs to go and one of you gets to stay. And I'm thinking, all right, you're a little bit of an idiot here. And I do need the money, because this will be a very easy lawsuit. But I care about, and I love the nurses more than I care about getting an easy lawsuit and affecting my daughter's health care in the future. Because he says, oh, well, where you guys staying? Like, she's in Largo, I'm right across the street. Logically, you'd be like, you know what? You are already here. You're continuing to be here. You've already had calls for this person. They've constantly harassed you, and now they've escalated. Hey, mom, you need to go. Instead, oh, well, I'm going to pick one of you to go, and then it's, hey, if I choose, it's probably going to be you. And I'm just thinking and looking at him at this moment, also having a D and G license in private security. And I'm like, you fool, that's an easy lawsuit. You're going to impede upon my parental rights. And I would let you, if the situation was different, I would let you kick me out of the hospital. Please give me the paperwork, which he did not do, and which he could not do even if he tried. But please do it, and then let me get an easy lawsuit, because I could use the money right now. That's what I'm thinking. And I try to de-escalate and educate him just a little bit. Turns out they tried to call down to one of the other nurses, I believe it was a charge nurse who was Team Dark Side. Tries to call down and say, hey, ban him from the room. It's like, I've been here for months. In this last stint, I've been here for weeks, and the biggest part of her turnaround. But they overruled her. It was like, what the heck are you talking about? There's no court order. It's like, we're not going to interfere with his parental rights and kick him out. What the heck has he done? He was like, the black dude with the glasses, who's nice to everybody, who talks to everybody. Yeah, no, come back with a court order. You can't even do that. So that was shut down. But to de-escalate, and I'm listening to the Holy Spirit, and in prayer, I'm like, okay, Lord, if you want me to stay, I'll stay. Make it easy. If you don't want me to stay and it's all right, then I'll go. But I know that you're in control. And this is right after she's gone from death sentence to discharge. She's getting ready to be discharged. We got this situation going on, and the mom doesn't even stay with our daughter. She likes to come with her paramour and then slip out and leave him there. Knowing full well that I've got parental authority, and if I wanted to, I can come back and say, hey, get out, kick rocks. But always keeping my focus, not responding emotionally. That's just not who I am. And I think God has prepared me for this moment just by placing me with that temperament in that. So May 3rd comes around. Mom, if we're being honest and legitimate about what I've seen, Mom fails the test when it comes to discharging our daughter. So I had to take a test on the TV. This. I know this. If this happens, do this. It's almost like a divine intervention moment. She comes in and the TV messes up. She can't take the test. I'm like, okay, let's see what you're doing, Lord. She can't take the test. So they have to do a paper test. And then the nurse is quizzing her orally, and the mom is failing. Bam. No. And I can see, like, you know, when you make a face and you try not to, the nurse is like, how do you not know that? Like, we just went over this and we've been doing this for months. Anyway, mom fails the test, but they still give her the green light. We go to get the medication training in the room. Okay, you can't put this in sun. You can't mix this, do this, that. Getting ready to leave. And surprise, surprise, there is a pizza party for my daughter because her mom has gone behind everything and she wasn't going to tell me about it, but God allowed it to be spilled in front of me. Hey, that pizza party is happening. Oh, what pizza party? Oh, Marco's Pizza is coming to do this and that. And her mom answered some questions for her and said, hey, what do you want to be? She's like, I want to be a chef, a pizza chef. I'm like, no, you don't. She's always said she wanted to be, what did she say? A mom and a nurse. And now there's also this chef added to it. There was one more thing she wanted to be. But I always thought it was interesting. She's like, I want to be a mom and a nurse. I'm like, really? Huh. Nonetheless, my daughter has this N95 mask on with the NG tube going behind that ear to her pump, NG tube, nose to gut. That's what it is. And during this time, they're like, oh, we weren't expecting, one, a father, and two, her to be in this condition. And then as we're walking out, we meet this other lady. She said, oh, yeah, and this is what's going on, this, and we're going to need to pick her up for the fashion show, or she comes here to the mall. I was like, oh, time out. She's actually not supposed to be around big crowds, but if you can set it up to where there's no crowd there, and you can guarantee that, I mean, we can consider it, because that's actually on my day. And I'm looking at it. My time with my kiddo, I'm looking at it on the phone, and I see her mom just go, It's hilarious. It's like, okay, I see you working, God. So the whole plan for putting her into a fashion show while she has no immune system, backstage with, I believe it was over 100 kids, getting handed off to a handler and being in an event with over 500 people. Does that sound like somebody who really cares about the child, who's really working in their best interests? Because if you knew what I knew about her mom and her mom liking fashion and wanting to be in fashion and taking a photo shoot and all the fashion model wannabe stuff, if you knew what I knew, you would look at it differently. I'm sure you can make excuses and say, well, maybe he's jumping to conclusions. I've known her and these people for well over a decade. I'm not a fool. I can hear and feel the Holy Spirit, and I've got his gift of discernment and wisdom. Nonetheless, we got this party that's not about to happen on Dad's watch. Why? Because I'm asking questions. Hey, can you guarantee that she won't be around this large group of people? Can you guarantee this? Can you guarantee this? Can you guarantee this? All things that are stated with BMT, bone marrow transplant criteria. As a matter of fact, I still have my card over there, my blue card, which says, hey, in the event of emergency, here are the medications, here are the doctors, you need to call them. And that's in case we go to another hospital or went to another hospital. So we're getting discharged. The hospital, they sit us down in a room. Chief of medicine, nurse practitioner, security's there, nurse manager, and family services, some ladies there. Everybody's there at the table, and we're trying to come up with, or they're basically going to tell us what they've decided already when it comes to discharge. Mom is constantly changing the address of me and our daughter to her address. And like, well, we're going to discharge her to the address we have in my chart. It's like, well, come on now. That's like a dumb moment right there. You got the bone marrow transplant office or the Ronald McDonald Hospital bone marrow transplant focus house there. Why not kind of step up and have some fortitude in your gut and your spirit to say, you know what, this is some foolishness. We're going to do that because it's in the best interest of the kiddo. Well, we can't say what's in the... Okay, you could tell us what type of vaccines we need because supposedly that's in our best interest. You could tell us what type of medication we need, even if we say we want a second opinion. You could tell us all these other things that are in our best interest, but when it comes to putting a kiddo in an environment that is for their health best interest, we can't say which is the best interest, and we can't say which parent would be better. Like, how? You clearly saw the difference of how I took care of her and how her mom treated the place like a hotel. So we're in this room. Kid's mom tries to get her lawyer on the phone. She starts dialing. I'm like, her lawyer doesn't even, like, that ain't even her scope or field, just trying to intimidate people. And they're like, who are you calling? It's like, my attorney. They go, we're not going to speak to her on the phone. Like, we're not going to be able to speak if you do that. So then she calls her paramour, Uncle Michael. Okay. So now she's putting this cell phone there, and I'm assuming he's recording on the other end because they're texting, or she's texting and telling them what to do. But nonetheless, nobody cares. I don't care. It's the truth. The truth is the truth. And if you're not trying to hide stuff, what do you have to worry about? So we're sitting there at the table. I state my point. They state theirs. It's like, listen, you guys know the truth and you've seen what has happened. And the reality is you want something very easy, like a court order. Well, we haven't even gotten to trial yet. So until we do that, I can't give you any order to enforce. And I pull out the paperwork and say, hey, here's the motion that I filed. And here's the order from the judge saying that we have to go to mediation because they've been trying to not go to mediation. This is a very long process. I cannot give you anything quickly right now, but I can tell you it's in motion. And then everybody at the table says their piece except the head of security. And he goes, he's doing it the right way. This is the way that you're going to want to do it. And he says something to that effect of, these things take time, but what he's doing is the right way to do it. Kind of being neutral, but at the same time saying, I am fully aware of what this is like in the legal system. I believe he's got a law enforcement background. So they discharge my kiddo, go on into her mom's place. Her mom, if I'm not mistaken, I have to look at my notes, doesn't even have a car seat for her or a booster seat. This has been the issue for years. Do you not care? Do you not realize that safety is not made up, that seatbelt doesn't fit her? And even if you put it on her, she could still slip through it. But that was a journey from about that last week of April in 2023 up until May 3rd. Everything's going on. There's a lot of emotion, not like cry emotion, but just like, oh, this is so messed up and foolish. Lord, what's going on? And this one nurse picks up something off the floor that I'd seen on the floor for a while, like several hours. She goes, hey, is this yours? I go, no, that ain't mine. She looks at it again and goes, I think this is yours. So when I pick it up and I hold it, it's got a cross on it. And oh man, what did it say? It was something about just God being with you and being faithful. And when I see it, I go, I think this is mine. So even in all of that, I'm getting little nudges. God's like, I got this. Don't worry about it. I got it. This may not be written the way that you want to write it, but I got this. So I'm going to stop there. Still finding joy in the morning. And to be honest, I think it infuriates the enemy when you find joy through the morning and you let God be with you through the storm. Keep your head up. Stay focused. Like, share, subscribe. Reach out if you have a similar story. This is not about entertainment. This is not about money. Couldn't care less about that. But this is a story I feel God has put on my heart to share and to share at this time. I kept quiet for 2 years. Just worked on me, listened to him, and drew closer to him. And after my time was up, it's like, okay, now you can share. I'm not sharing from anger, from bitterness, from hurt. Like, I'm not trying to get at anybody. Nope. The person who is there, that shell, hey, mourn the loss of who was. I recognize what is now. And now I'm going to share the story because we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. I'll see you on the next one.